Well, hi there. I hope you're going to enjoy this one. This is all about my worm farms. I've got here what I need to do a little bit of transplanting of the tailings and the worms themselves. And in each of these 3 boxes there is currently an active farm, and they're busy munching away, and they've produced an awful lot of tailings poo, and it is absolutely brilliant for the garden and for making things grow. And I just want to take you through what I've learnt by watching other YouTube people. This might not be the right way, it might not be the best way, but it's my way. This is how I'm doing it, and I'm sharing it with you, hopefully. So I'm going to take the top off of this one, and I last fed this one about 4 days ago. So I've taken the net off the top, and inside is this ropey old bit of cardboard. This cardboard has soaked up an awful lot of moisture, and it started to be eaten by the worms anyway. But inside here you can see there's a flat surface of all of this very fine, very fine, powdery almost, but slightly damp powdery stuff. And what I'm going to do is take a basket full of that, and I'm going to sieve it. Now on the top here I can see quite a few worms, and I'm quite happy with that. And there's some bits and pieces that I don't really want in there, so I'm going to throw those away. But what I'm looking to do here is on top is have the larger stuff, including the worms on top. Oh, there's a little earwig running around there, and there's some other wildlife in there as well. Now what I'm going to do is to clear one end of this worm farm away and leave that for me to put back in all this good stuff. Now in here, these are the tailings. They've actually got worm eggs in them anyway, and I've not understood how I can separate the worm eggs from the tailings, but maybe that's for a future episode when I finally discover how to. But this stuff here really is all about gardeners' black gold. Now there's one that's got through. That's got through these this mesh on here. Do I worry? No, not really. There's a couple of thousand in this box here, and if I were to worry about every little worm escaping, I'd feel a bit like a prison camp, you know. But I've got this cloth underneath here, this sheet, so that if any go over the side, or if I do see some here, I'll put them back in the box anyway. So this I'm going to put into a larger box over here. Carry on, do the same. So shake away. There we go. There's a nice blue bottle flying around here, wants to get on my nose. It's funny, the other day I think it was in the morning video that I said good morning Chiang Mai. I was the one where I did quite a lot of flights over Chiang Mai in the early morning. Walking along the field, I kept touching my ears and touching my face and touching cobwebs and little bugs in the air. They were driving me bonkers. And when I watched the video after, I thought, you must think I've got a twitch or something. It's I'm touching here. So nice looking worm tailings. So in the top, what's remaining in here, I shall put back into each of these boxes, and indeed there'll be the worms, there'll be the remnants of food that I've put in there 4 or 5 days ago, and they've not eaten yet. So this is cow manure, and some bits and scraps from the kitchen and from the garden, some green, and little bits of cardboard here and there. So there we have it. All I'm doing is very crudely, very basically, taking what's in these boxes, sieving it and putting it into this bowl, and adding this bowl to the bigger box. Well, this is a box that I have just for the worm tailings, and therefore I make up bags of this and give it to friends and family, and we're off to Chiang Rai soon, so we'll take some up to our gardening family up there, and they'll enjoy the fact that this gardener's gold, this black gold, has been created by us. It's not the cost of it, it's not the the saving of money, it's the participation and understanding and doing, and getting your hands dirty and doing something of interest. That's what this is all about. Well, this is the last of the 3 boxes, and I'm very pleased to see so many worms. There are so many worms in these 3 boxes that, as I explained to you earlier, I actually want to make a 4th farm now. So what I'm going to do is to split away some of the 3 boxes into a 4th. But most importantly is to set up the environment for the transferred worms before I go transferring them. I'm not sure as to whether I told you the story or not. I think I mangled it when I was doing my earlier worm video, and I wanted to explain to you about the first attempt I had of doing worm vermiculture farming. I contacted a lady in Meizhou here in Chiang Mai and arranged that she give me a kilo of worms. I hadn't got a clue as to whether that was right amount, a good amount. They were tiger worms, I think she called them, but they were huge, they were quite large. And I had read up on YouTube about how to prepare some environment for these worms, and I duly set up the tubs with all the materials, with all the food, and I put this kilo of worms into this container, and within 24 hours they'd escaped. They'd all curled up in the corner and were desperate to get away from this tub. So I did something wrong. So I thought, well, what do I do? So I split out the contents of the container and put them back in, and once again I failed. They died within 2 days. A terrible smell. It took weeks for the smell to actually go. But this is my second lot of worms that I've got, and I ordered these off of Lazada, and the instructions that came with them said that what I should do is feed them on cow poo, and as simple as that, just that, and they will then be happy, they will be content, and then after a time you can then introduce other food, garden and household waste into their bin, into their farm, and they will then become productive in creating their farm, the tailings that you are looking for. These little fellas here, these are red wigglers. They're not like your big garden worms that you'll see going across your lawn at night. These are much smaller. So I was very cautious growing the second lot, or starting the second lot, and I'm going to show you the contents of how I go about making up a new box So this is the basic makeup. I've got a really cheap, I think this is sort of like 1.99 baht from Tesco's tub. No holes in it. I've got some netting over the top, mainly to keep the bugs from coming in. I've got the lid of the box with a hole cut out, obviously, and I've got a 10 baht thingy in the top. Now that's once again to stop the bugs. Nothing else. I don't pour water in, I don't put feed into here. It's just to stop the bugs going in. If I left it like this, I find that the bugs get underneath here and they start laying all sorts of stuff on the top, and it's not very handy. So this is a basic box. Now let me show you what I'm going to put into that. Really, this is all you actually need to start off that new farm. And what I'm going to do is to take the top off here, and I'm going to lay a couple of these egg cartons in the bottom and get them to just sit in there nicely. And these egg cartons, cardboard, without any plastic on the outside, none of this shiny cardboard stuff, let alone with tape. That's a big one, that is. Don't have these cardboard cartons that have still got tape on them. These are somewhere for the worms to go and play, hide, bury themselves away, but also it acts as a climate control. It gives some sort of climate control to the moisture, so it soaks up the excessive moisture in the soil. Now, this is the poo that I had soaking for a week, and then I've had drying in the sun for a few days, and it's not dry. It's a bit like a damp cloth. And it's just like these videos that say to you, you should have an environment which is a bit like a cloth that it's been wet and you've wrung it out and it's just damp. Well, I'm going to put all of this in here.
I love getting my hands dirty. This is after it's been soaking for a week, and it's much smaller because you can just break it down in your fingers and break the lumps out.
And I'm then going to use a sand grit substitute, which is eggshell. Now this is ground up eggshell. Something else I do in the garden is to collect eggshells from the home and separate them from going into the compost, and I put them in a little bag. And over the weeks, months, you soon build up quite a lot of eggshells. And in here you can see there's a bag full of eggshells in all different states of size. Now this is the bit I really enjoy.
Yeah, so having trampled on them, they all come into something quite small.
So now with my shell down to a mulch, just a crumble of eggshells, I put it into an old, this is an old Shimono blender. The on-off switch doesn't work, so I just plug it in and plug it out to turn it on, turn it off. It's no good in the kitchen anymore. So there we go. Now you can see, instead of it being mulch like this, it's actually very fine dust. Now they need that apparently, not only for their digestion, but also it helps their slothing off, I guess. But that's all I'm going to put in there. And now what I'm going to do is take the contents that I've already sieved from these boxes, and I'm going to put that in. And therefore these boxes will be relieved of quite a few of the worms that have been breeding in them. I'll smooth that around. And then, to cap it all off, some more cardboard on top. Now this cardboard has an extra benefit apparently. It's keeping away the light. So because on the top of it I've got a net and a lid. And there is some light going in through here because of air. Air needs to flow. It stops the worms from panicking. It stops the worms from stressing because the light is shielded from the soil within. And that's it. Now, after a couple of days, I'll check to make sure that it's not too dry, not too wet, and make sure that it's, as I say, like a wrung out cloth. And now I have 4 bins. And the 4 bins will keep on producing this wonderful black gold that just spread around the garden and give away to friends, and know that your household and garden waste has gone to a good home. Anyway, thanks for joining me in this, and hope you enjoyed this little rundown with me getting my hands mucky and explaining a little bit about this hobby. Take care. Bye-bye.